are City the first treble winners to get rejected on a big signing?
I'm sure Man United must have gotten rejected.
Bayern must have gotten rejected.
Not in the summer afterwards, no.
Bayern must have got rejected.
I think it's the context is like a little bit different though, because West Ham were asking for something insane, and also they had a certain limit that they were going to pay for Rice, and I think Arsenal and Arteta wanted Rice a bit more, so their limit on what they were going to pay was a bit more. If Arsenal didn't match, say for instance City just went a little bit higher and that was the only bid on table, and Arsenal didn't go for the 100, he probably would have went to City. I don't think he was like rejected or in that West Ham. It was a very particular scenario that worked out for us, but I don't think it's as black and white as that.
Some people think that Man City weren't serious about Declan Rice. They didn't want.
Just say Igal. We can say his name.
We just wanted him more. Let's be honest. They weren't as serious as we are. That's really and truly. That's where I'm going with it.
Everyone has a number that they're willing to go up to and how badly they want a player. And obviously Arsenal's was a little bit more. But if that wasn't the case, he probably would be wearing sky blue.
Now, props to Arsenal though for that big amount.
Teams that are notoriously known for not going into bidding wars went into a bidding war, and Arsenal came up top.
The thing is, I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
That's unbelievable, bro.
Sorry, say that again, Miguel.
I said 2 teams that are historically known for not getting into bidding wars got into a bidding war, and Arsenal got on top.
But I agree. I don't believe that City don't get into bidding wars. I believe that's what they brief the media with when a player says no to them and says yes to somebody else. And why I say that? Because most clubs don't get into bidding wars. Most clubs, when they get told, Onana's highly likely to come to Man United. About 2 weeks ago, Chelsea pulled out of the deal. No, they didn't. Onana said, if I'm leaving a Man United match here, I'm going Man United. So Chelsea stepped back and away from it. Clubs don't bid for players unless they agree to join. So clearly, Rice has said, look, I'm happy to join you, but Arsenal's my preference. But as soon as City got to a point where, well, we're not going to pay above this amount, we'll match Arsenal, and he preferred. And do you get where I'm coming from? I think City looked at it from the angle of, we'll probably bid enough to make Arsenal go away. And Arsenal just said, no, you won't. I don't think that's pulling out of a bidding war because you don't get involved. That's because the player's not picked you. You know, Man United, the same with Darwin Núñez last year. We walked away from it, did we? No, we didn't. We walked away once the player said, I'm going to go Liverpool instead of you. It's called rejection. Clubs. Fans,
I don't think Declan Rice rejected Man City.
Yeah, he didn't.
Well, it depends on how you say it. So this is it, though. So let me ask you this now, right? I'll use Don as an example. You're dating 2 girls, but they both want you to be their boyfriend. And you think they're both great. You're happy to be with both, but you prefer one to the other. And you get with girl A. Have you rejected girl B?
Wait, but do you? If both teams would have bid the same amount.
But the point is that that's all it was. So when I say rejection, you can paint it up with his preference or whatever else. He wanted the Arsenal move. If he turned around and said, I prefer City over Arsenal, City matched the bid, but he didn't.
I don't think that's
I think what City were hoping for is that Arsenal didn't have the financial muscle or clout to keep going, and they did.
That's what it is.
So you think Arsenal have a bigger pool than Manchester City?
No. Again, you're generalizing.
What's that in front of Miguel? Right away with it.
They don't have a bigger pool than Man City for every player in the world. But Declan Rice preferred Arsenal. This is the thing with it, right?
I don't think that's the case.
But Man City are an amazing club. Man City can attract nearly any player in the world. They attracted Declan Rice, but it doesn't mean they won't get rejected. They've been rejected before.
Terry, but you know why this one is different?
Actually, I completely
disagree. 1 second.
Both teams.
How I look at it.
One at a time. So, Mo, what do you disagree with?
So I think Man City would never have actually put in a bid unless they know that there is a little bit of an intention from the player to go there if they win the bid, right? So that means he hasn't rejected them. He didn't tell them, no, I'm not going to you. I prefer Arsenal. However, Man City valued the guy at this number, which is 90 million, 80 on 18 months plus 10. And when the bid was rejected, they said, we're done here. We don't value you more than that much. If Arsenal want to bid more, they're welcome to do it. Here you go. Take
but you know what? The media
guys, why not? Let me respond to that because it's just, listen, I understand that, and that's fair logic, and I'm not going to overly challenge it. My point of view is, though, if Declan Rice's preference was City and he wanted them more than Arsenal, I believe they bid more. The thing is, though, with the way transfer stories are put out now, every club has that get out of we walked away. The thing is, I don't believe it when my club say it. So I'm definitely not going to believe it when Man City say it. Everyone's club says we walked away. The value wasn't there. The player was overpriced or the salary was too much. It's amazing how every single club uses the exact same excuses. Where 10 years ago in football, you never saw this. It was just this club got rejected or this club got picked. Now suddenly there's all these different permutations. And I just look at it as a bit of bollocks. Like, you could be right, but for me, if Rice wanted Man City more, Man City get him. Simple as that.
What if you wanted?
The revision is
I
history.
think it's the opposite.
The revisionist history is amazing because going into Thursday when DiMaggio tweeted his thing, I'm seeing my dancing meme. I'm seeing people getting it. All of us, everyone's mentions are Man City are going to sign him. Man City are going to sign him. And then really and truly, there were even reports that Man City were going to go in with the second bid. So this whole thing that Man City just stepped away and backed out, really and truly, Arsenal forced their hand to do this. So
you put more money on the table.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
get
of
what
course.
do you want.
But listen, at the end of the day, this is how
things
things work. This is business. You get your player, you take your
Exactly,
W,
and you wanted it more, so you did more. You wanted
And
it
that's
more.
why
You
I
put
said
more
you
money,
did.
and you got the player.
One
Same
second.
reason.
What
Hold
are you
on.
arguing
This
with?
is the same way you guys wanted Mudryk. Mudryk wanted you guys, but at the end of the day, Chelsea put more money on the table, and you guys sat there and said we didn't get
And they
rejected.
donated to
The
your
other
pension
team
fund
put
and
more
various
money.
stuff.
But now when it happens the other way, and I'm not someone to defend City because I'm not a City fan, but it's just like the way you guys pick and choose how to view things at times, it just pisses me off because it was the same scenario, but one, you guys didn't get rejected, and now, City got rejected, and we got them.
First of all, stop.
Staffy, I agree with that. Sorry, I'll go to you in a second, Igal.
He's
I agree with
lying,
you. I agree with you, Staffy, because again, I would say last year, Lissandro Martinez rejected Arsenal for Man United.
Facts.
So I'm consistent with that in every one of these scenarios. What I don't do is act like my club never gets rejected, but everybody else's do. I think that scenario
We
was
all get rejected, but I'm talking about the similar scenario.
Hang on, guys, let me finish. It's exactly the same scenario. So last year, Arsenal bid first. Okay, we bid. Arsenal bid. We bid. He was happy to go to both, but Man United was his preference. And in the end, Arsenal and Man United were looking at making about the same bid. And Arsenal walked away because they realized, well, if we're only making the same bid as Manchester United and we both get bids accepted, he's picking Man United. So rather than have the rejection, they used the PR line of Arsenal have pulled away from the circumstance. I look at that. That for me is just a PR version of we got rejected or we weren't the favorites. And I just don't like fluffing up the transfers to what they're not. For me, call it what it is. The player chose Arsenal or the player chose United. Or
I can't find the reason. I can't find the reason why a player would want to go to Arsenal.
Let me tell you.
Look at
Let me give you other reasons outside of
Poor Dan didn't even get to speak.
Yeah, didn't even speak. He's gonna open up a can of worms.
Okay, you know what? Go ahead.
Wait, let me just say one thing, Terry.
Wait, how are you gonna cut in? You said let the guy finish.
You're lagging a bit, bro.
Let Dan speak. Yeah,
you're lagging a little bit. No, because Dan's going into something else. Like, that's a different conversation. I'm going back to what Terry said about Man City being rejected by Declan Rice. I get what you're saying to an extent, Terry, because I do agree that Declan Rice did prefer to go to Arsenal, but even Arsenal fans, a lot of them were surprised with the amount of money that they came back with, like 100 million plus 5 million in add-ons. That's something that Arsenal don't normally do, and I feel like Man City coming in and sort of bidding and showing that they're actually interested in this player kind of woke them up and said, you know what, we can't go in with a cheeky little 5-10 million extra. We've got to blow them away to get them to do what they normally do. So I don't think it's a situation where it's like Declan Rice has rejected Man City. I think Man City have looked at it like Mo said and don't value him as much as what Arsenal.
Maybe they have, but I stand by what I say. If Declan Rice forget the word rejection because it triggers people. If his preference was Man City, City would have matched Arsenal's bid, in my personal opinion, but the preference wasn't. On what you were saying, Dan, you don't understand why somebody would pick Arsenal over City.
Exactly. I think the case was Man City also had their fee where they were like, all right, we're not paying more than that. I think it wasn't a case where Declan Rice didn't want Man City, because why would a player not want to go to win trophies?
But that was never
Man City don't.
I'm sorry, Dan, I'm interjecting. That was never in any of the media briefs. Like, read the articles. the media brief didn't say anywhere that he doesn't or wouldn't play for City. They said his preference was Arsenal.
But I don't understand why.
And these were said by West Ham sources, nothing to do with not Arsenal bias sources. This was coming from the most credible West Ham sources out there. Jacob Steinberg and the ex-West Ham employee all said it, by the way, for 5 months. But you don't understand it because you're a Tottenham fan. This is what I've said to a lot of people. City are amazing.
It has nothing to do with that.
It has got something, but it has got something to do with it. City are amazing. And of course, lots of people want to play for them. But people are motivated by Do you think all 7 of us on the stream are motivated by the same things in life?
Not really, but if you're going to offer me trophies, I'm going to go there.
So exactly, but Declan Rice does want trophies. And going to City almost guarantees them. He would be a massive part of that team and he would win them. But maybe there is a part of Declan Rice that's motivated and believes he can go to Arsenal and be a mainstay player in a team the size of Arsenal to win their first title in 2 decades. For some people, that as a motivation is absolutely massive. Otherwise, Man United would never have signed the star players we've got in the last 7 or 8 years, even though we have achieved nothing because big clubs were in for them. At the same time, there were big teams in the 90s that got rejected for smaller teams. Just read some of the interviews that go up there. Paul Gascoigne turned down Man United for Spurs. That was because of a sunbed that they offered his sister. The point I'm making is, for the history of football, Dan, amazing players have turned down bigger and better clubs for teams that publicly and outwards looking in are not as good. It's happened regularly because the motivation for everybody is so different. And as I said before, what motivates you in life is different from Mo. So if us 7 have 7 different motivations just on this panel, how can we judge all footballers the same and go, they must all only want to play for City and City only? That's never going to happen, bro.
Yeah,
I think women or men motivate all of us. So let's just get that straight. Women.
I hear maybe you wanted
just get that straight. I think me and Dan, everybody here, we agree that Colleen, whatever your preference is, but let's just get that straight.
Yeah,
it could be the case. It could be the case that you wanted to go to Arsenal, but I just don't think. I think if both teams put the same fee on the table, West Ham accept both fees, and West Ham go, all right, Declan, it's your choice. I don't think he would go to Arsenal over Man City. That's just my opinion, though. Maybe he wanted to go to Arsenal.
Your opinion is to negate everything Terry just said and what every top journalist said.
Literally, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, but journalists. Okay, so every single.
Oh, but yeah, journalists lie.
To be honest, Dan, he did want to go.
Dan, can I spin this on you then, Dan? Because a lot of people said that Newcastle were leading the race for Maddison and you guys got involved, right? And I believe that to be the case. But because Newcastle didn't put an official bid in, is it fair to say if they did, because they're a massive club, they've got the owners, they've got the direction they're going in, they're more attractive project than Tottenham because you guys don't achieve anything? Did Maddison only come to Tottenham because Newcastle didn't bid?
I mean, I think if Newcastle would bid,
or is Maddison only a Tottenham player because Arsenal, Man United, and City didn't bid for him?
Yeah.
Is that how you view all players at Tottenham? They're only Spurs players because bigger clubs didn't want them. Is that how you view them?
I think you all have to take context as well.
See, but context now.
You did remove the context.
It's always about if nobody else is gonna go in for him. It's a bit like what Mo said earlier about how we're talking how Maddison he makes a bigger difference at Tottenham than Declan Rice makes at Arsenal. Arsenal needed Declan Rice more than Manchester City did. They still needed a Declan Rice, but Arsenal needed more. Therefore, they were going to bid more for him. Whether he thought that he would enjoy being more in that project, it could be the case. But I just don't think so.
Maybe, and the thing is, but my theory as well, if they would have, I agree. If they'd have bid the same, you think he'd have picked City? I still think he would have gone Arsenal. We'll never know. It's all theory.
Yeah.
And none of us will ever
Declan
know.
Rice is a gooner. You can't do nothing about it. Let's go, people. I'm out of here.
That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line.
I will say
Stone Cold said so.
I'm very consistent with this. When Man United walk away from players and deals, I very much say the same thing. Yeah, we got rejected. I don't believe we walked away. I think it's all nonsense. I've got a lot of super chats to get through here.